your martial arts movie podcast.
I threw that shit before I walked in the room.
Featuring drunken Thai boxer Will.
Too bad you will die.
The also drunken wrestler Mark.
I said I don't want trouble.
And drunken karate master Zero.
You've lost your balls.
And now,
Call. I know Kung Fu.
You know, baby.
Fists of Fail.
I can't wait for us to talk about this movie about a police officer who is jealous of evil as enemies. That is the basic synopsis on IMDb, and I have to rely on that because, I mean, I can't really. There's like barely any information in the movie. All we have is the movie itself. And what movie are we talking about today, Zero?
We're talking about Fight Against Evil 2.
Yes, or
Part 2.
Northeast Police Story 2. Has nothing to do with the Jackie Chan series. I don't know why. Maybe they named it for that particular reason. Maybe it just would sell better, but I don't know. Yeah, so we should make a disclaimer about this movie. I mean, in the best positive light. This is our last movie of the year.
Hooray!
Kind of.
Well,
Release,
our
right?
our last full-length episode, because we still have quick jab episodes for people who subscribe to us on Patreon, but for anyone else who just listens casually and freely, this is our last episode covering a movie where we do a full deep dive on it, and it's also a new release. It came out this year. This is a mainland Chinese movie, and you can watch it on the Chinese streaming service iQIYI.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know how I feel about mainland Chinese movies, and well, let's take a step back. This is not bad. This kind of goes against a lot of what I usually complain about, but it's not necessarily a problem with mainland China. Just the fact that it's from mainland China, but because like this is actually just a competently made film, which is all I'm asking for. Right, and it has like the production to kind of back it up. But I will say the movie's pretty simple, but it's very enjoyable for the most part, right? Because it touches on the subject matter that I think like half of our episodes are always touching on the topic of human trafficking, right?
Yeah. Whenever we deal with Southeast Asian movies, they tend to have subject matters with sex trade, human trafficking, and whatnot. Obviously uncomfortable, but those are subject matters that the filmmakers want to talk about, so that's fine. I was just actually surprised to see this subject come from a mainland Chinese film, because I feel a lot of the stuff that I think we see that is at least brought heavily to our attention is more the sci-fi stuff coming out, or maybe the feel-good dramas that come from mainland China that do well at their box offices. So I think that's why this one fell under the radar for a little bit until people started saying like, hey, this is a new action film starring that little boy that you may have seen in a couple of Hong Kong films. You might want to check it out because there's some pretty decent action in it. So
whoever are you talking about, Zero?
What's that?
Whoever are you talking about? The little boy.
Moshe or Mozie.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce that. Apologies. But we've covered him as he paired up as a child actor with Jet Li in a few films, like My Father is a Hero and
Legend of the Red Dragon?
Legend of the Red Dragon. That's it. Yeah, we covered that this year as well.
Yeah. So it's kind of, it's funny. As I was watching the movie, and I went into this blindly, right? Didn't look at the cast. As I was watching the film, like, this lead actor looks familiar. And I just could not figure out what it was. And little did I know he was a child actor, now fully grown up, and now near into his 40s. So I was like, oh, that's what it is. And as soon as I kind of like dove into it a little bit deeper, and he's basically the only face I know here. Everyone else, and this is like an early apology warning I have to give out. Like I can not find a lot of information on some of these performers. Like I can't even find faces to names. So we might have to give some of these performers just the broad strokes description of other, like, woman who fights in car.
Pretty much, yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. But we'll give some of these folks credit, because this was surprising to me that the action did elevate, so well. And maybe it is, yes, Motse is part of the production, so it's like, okay, we have the talent here, so let's kind of make the movie, the action in the action department, stand out. But yeah, it's a shame that I can't, name every one of these actors because like there's not enough info on the film.
Well, that's okay. How about we go deeper into the story, because we kind of just touched on the uncomfortable subject matter, but
Yep.
I think we can say that Motse is a police officer, a Northeast police officer, maybe specifically, but he's a police officer.
Jealous of evil.
Who's jealous of evil, apparently. No, he's coming off of an undercover investigation and getting reacclimated back into the police force. He gets called up by an auntie because this auntie's son commits suicide, because that's the son's wife is, I mean, for lack of a better word, she's essentially raped. And so the son commits suicide, kind of forcing the wife to go over with him, but she doesn't die. She becomes brain dead. She becomes a vegetable. And so that leads him into this path of trying to figure out, okay, well, what's going on with the suicide case, and how is it related to these 4, I want to say, gang leaders that he meets later in the film through an old acquaintance.
Yeah. Watching the film, you can kind of sit by and just idly let the story kind of unfold. This movie is really simple. Mm-hmm. It's incredibly simple.
It's incredibly simple, and it kind of feels really slow at times.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The whole time I was like, man, like, where is this going? Where is it going? That fight was just, it was okay. Okay, where is this going? Like, do I really need to sit through this?
Oh, wait. Here's the thing. I praised the hell out of the movie, but that's me opening up with the positives. I do have a lot of problems with the film. The pacing is definitely an issue. And I was going to say, when you recommend this film, after watching 2, 3 fights in the movie, I was like, what is Zero on?
I told you when I messaged you, don't let the first fights, just ignore them. They're not they're not indicators of the rest of the movie.
Even with that disclaimer, I was like, oh, come on, really? And then it kind of hits you. It was like, oh man, this next fight is awesome. There's like one fight afterwards, which is pretty, it's really good too. And then it kind of goes back into that kind of, slightly above mediocre territory. I kind of wish the whole movie was a lot more consistent in terms of the action department. But, the movie can be slow, the action can be inconsistent, and the story's way too simple. But for the most part, it's easy. Sit through. This is an easy watch.
90 minutes. Exactly what I always say I want. 90 minutes. Oddly enough, I feel we're missing stuff from this movie, because we were kind of alluding to it. There is a female officer who has a really great fight scene.
Yep. And
she is barely established. It took me forever to figure out what her name was in the movie, and then trying to find an American English words to match her name. I just can't find it, so I don't know who this actress is, so we can't properly credit her. But she's Officer Zhao in the movie, and it's just so weird because that character isn't established. I think we did say this is technically a prequel to Fight Against Evil 1, so you would think that maybe they would flesh out these characters even more. I haven't even seen the first one, so I don't even know if maybe the first movie we spend more time with all these people and get to know them, and then they're just assuming that everybody saw that one first, so we don't have to give everybody names in this one. You're just gonna know them all. The gang's all back.
Yeah, well, I did not watch the first one. I didn't even know this was a sequel to anything. I did not look at the title clearly enough. But yeah, like you don't need to watch the sequel or any knowing that this is a franchise at all. This movie is pretty self-contained, thankfully.
Extreme, yeah, very, very easy to watch without really knowing anything.
Yeah,
but going back on that train of thought, the characterization of everybody is so broad, and it's really difficult to relate to Motier, our main character. He's a police officer, very blue collar, very down and dirty. He just has no personality.
It really doesn't. No,
He's so dour. He's a stick in the mud. They try to flesh out his character by putting him in relatable millennial situations. He's being set up
he's on blind
dates. Like, that's it? Like, that's all you got?
because young people date, Zero. Don't you know this?
I do know this. I was dating for like a long, long time, so I can relate to that stuff.
Yeah.
But he's just...
It's expert writing, right there.
I don't know. The way they write him is just so bland. I think the one character trait that I thought was really funny that stood out to me in a very, very brief scene was he and another officer take giant bites out of big stalks of green onion. Did you notice that?
These massive leaks. I'm like, what is happening? Why are they even doing this?
Why are they eating it raw, right?
I have no idea. Was that like were they playing chicken by like with each other, trying to like dare each other to take bigger bites out of raw onion? I don't really understand that.
They were raw dog and green onion. I don't know what's going on here.
There, yeah, and you have the whole 90-minute movie. A lot of it does feel like, to me, it almost feels like padding, right? Because it just feels like, all right, come on, let's just move on with the next scene.
Let's get to
exactly, and everything in between. It's either so the way I would describe it, there's a lot of, obviously the subject matter is it's going to always be uncomfortable. Human trafficking, sexual harassment, anything of that nature is always going to be just not. It's going to be very touchy subject matter. It's going to be very uncomfortable. And in between, it seems like we switch back to the day in the life of this main character police officer and his not quirky, wacky enough adventures. It's like, oh, we're being set up on a blind date. And it's like it's almost like they're trying to set up a joke there. But then they kind of just move along with it. You know what I mean?
They're setting up a joke, but he's not in on a joke, and he's so in character of being this curmudgeon. It's almost annoying that there's no comedy derived from this. The comedy that comes from that is he just beats the shit out of people because like he's really salty that his date wasn't paying attention to him. That's it.
Yeah, but yes, the comedy isn't quite there, but the fact that like it doesn't go far enough with it. But at the same time, there's like this strange dichotomy between like this dark and dour theme of the movie, and then there's just this, like it just jumps to another scene unrelated to him, living his social life, and it's like, okay, well they didn't go too far and make it like completely wacky and zany, but they didn't really like, but they're not doing anything with these scenes, so it's like, these scenes just feel like they're pointless, or like they're like half written.
Well,
half measures.
Right. I kind of see what they were doing because so during the movie he is going on blind dates. He gets set up on a blind date, and it turns out one of the women he gets set up with, she's actually kind of being pimped out, and her pimp starts accosting her after she leaves the blind date with him, and he saves her, and so he starts to realize, okay, something's going on here. He follows the pimp, and then he sees that there is kind of this underground world because he gets jumped by these men. So he figures, okay, well, something's going on here. Something's going on in these nightclub settings, and it further opens up to him when his not adopted, I guess his orphan brother introduces him to his bosses. That's where we get even deeper into the seedy nightlife world. And it's really forcing us into the overall underground. Like I felt like it could have been organically written instead of just like, well, he's on blind dates. Oh, coincidentally, he goes on a blind date with a woman who's involved in sex trafficking. It's too convenient like that.
Yeah. Well, that's what we need is have this movie be self-contained and have everything just piled together just so nicely so that we can move the story along. But even then, it's like, well, feels like there's still a lot of padding in between. And I would have liked. I mean, this, but there's a reason why I'm assuming like my assumption wouldn't have worked. It's like I would have liked if this movie went a little bit further into like the darker territory, like like take out all the comedy bits, like really explore the main character's disillusion with like the criminal underworld. He has this stepbrother or whatever you call it, who's also involved in the crime world, and it's like his personal investment in like making sure that his brother's okay, but at the same time like he realizes that like he's going to have a struggle with like someone who he's considered basically his brother. Yeah, all that like would have been great, and but at the same time I know that like this movie wouldn't have been the case because it's a mainland China movie and there's censorship. I mean, you can only go so dark. But I'm still surprised that this movie was touched on the subject matter.
Well, that's what I mean, though. I think it's interesting that we get a mainland Chinese movie talking about sex trade, illegal pornography and all that stuff. But exactly what you said, I think the struggles and the difficulties of being these orphan brothers together and then ultimately having a divide and having to fight each other, there's grounds for more interesting personal stuff going on there, and it's just washed over. There's no internal struggle with Mozier trying to like say like, oh, should I turn my brother in? We've been helping each other out. We grew up orphaned together, or do I follow my duties as a police officer? He's just, no, I am a police officer. I'm doing this because I'm a police officer. I have no personality. My personality is giant green onion eating police officer.
Right, because once you get introduced to the brother character and you realize that we're pretty quickly that we're not going to set up much of their relationship, it's going to be pretty surface level. Immediately that this is going to turn into a fight between the two of them. And that's really it. Like motivation wise and the way that we lead up to that ultimate confrontation, it should feel like an escalation and intensity rising, and it doesn't feel like that. It just feels like, well, we need it to happen because we need a fight scene. Yeah. It's like a lazy way of writing it. Again, I'm sure there's like, maybe censorship can only do, with the prohibition or the restrictions of censorship, you can only go so far. In fact, the movie has an epilogue screen where everything is nicely tied up or explained.
Not at all. Did you read that last sentence of the epilogue? It's not nicely tied up.
Well, no, like everything has to be explained away, and it essentially tells you what ultimately happens to all the bad guys, right?
I wonder if this is supposedly based on real cases because of that epilogue.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, I won't spoil it. I won't go into the details of that. But anyway, Will, how's the action then? Since the story is pretty straightforward.
I hinted at it. The first couple of fights are not good indicators, and even with that disclaimer that you gave me, and I'm gonna relay back to our listeners, you're probably gonna be pretty disappointed at first, thinking, "Oh, this is not good," right? And it takes a long time before you get to your first real fight scene. That's like halfway through the movie.
And don't be fooled into thinking seeing a bathroom means you should take a bathroom break. Because that's where our first major fight scene happens. And oh boy, if you've ever wanted to see two men destroy a bathroom, then this movie is for you.
Yeah, and we're not talking about like an average Tuesday night after Chipotle. People fighting in a bathroom, and it's pretty good. I was actually very impressed by it, and I was like, where the hell was this whole movie? And it takes like 50 minutes in, and
Well,
you have to sit through.
they kind of set you up a little bit, because the first fight scene, he's fighting some goons, and it's just okay. So I have a feeling that whenever Motier's not fighting with another actor, Liu Fengchao, who is the man he fights in the bathroom, I feel like anytime he's not fighting him, that's when you can see the fights are a lot more edited. They don't feel as concise and as wowing as that bathroom fight. So maybe it's just the budget, the talent of the stunt team are just not up to par with what he as an action performer could do, along with the other actor, Liu Fengchao.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the case. When you have two on-screen martial arts performers, and they have enough of a rapport, and they understand each other's movements, they can really sell the hits, etc. It's great. It's like perfect on-screen chemistry. But everything else, I mean, like especially the earlier fights, it's a lot of him, our main character dispatching of goons in one or two movements, right? And
it's very
which is fine.
One at a time, sort of. Everybody's taking their turn, but they hide it. They hide people in the background well enough, and they try to make a lot of these big blows exciting by doing very big camera moves, arcing motions, or almost like slam zooms to extenuate all these hits. And that's fine, but compared to the rest of the movie, these earlier fights are just pretty forgettable. They're there to show that there's action in the movie, but as we've kind of been saying, if you were to just watch this blind and you were going to see that, you would think, okay, well, maybe this is not really good. I'm going to turn it off, and you would be disappointed to find it actually gets better.
Right. And thank God I sat through it, because I was, if you didn't recommend this movie, you didn't scout this movie out first, I would have been like, I would just immediately have dismissed it and be like, yeah, the rest of the movie is probably along these lines. So that's kind of like the overall theme of what I'm trying to say. It's like when you put all your eggs into like one fight scene, as and you make that one really good, but you kind of make the rest of them kind of just meh, just like rather mediocre. And you, especially when you kind of put that closer to the end of the film, it's like, oh man, like you can kind of turn a lot of people away, and especially in this day and age when people like myself have very short attention spans.
Well, I think the problem too is how they paced out the fights, because we get this very, very great bathroom fight, basically halfway through a little more than halfway through the movie, and then really closely after that we get a very, very intricate, creative fight inside of a car, very close quarters combat, using everything they can inside this vehicle, with a man handcuffed in the backseat and then a female officer in the front, and they're just fighting. It's fucking beautiful. It's close, it's tense, and it looks great. But there's those two fights, the bathroom fight and the car fight, they're kind of really close to each other. I wish they paced it out a little more. And then later on we get a fight in the porno studio that's a little more breaking shit sort of brawl. And then I think we get one more at the end against the final boss, and it's just okay. I think it's because the actor Zhang Li is just an older guy. You can see he gets doubled heavily. So like there's only so much they can do with him at that point. They double him enough so that they give him some cool moves to do, but there's just no hiding the fact that it's clear he can't go toe-to-toe with actual screen fighting with Motier.
Yeah, I'm assuming that they got this actor mostly for his acting chops, but I mean, like I don't know him at all. This actor Zhang Li, clearly he has some acting pedigree, and that's why they wanted him in this menacing final boss role. But I did not expect him to be a fighter, and I was actually kind of disappointed that he was, because once they set up this one scene that he's kind of like training, hitting the pads or whatever for in an MMA style environment, I was like, oh man, he's gonna fight. Like and based off of everything you just said, which is essentially true. Like he's gonna get doubled. It's like I kind of just wish he was like just one mastermind, and he has like this one right hand man who's a great fighter.
Well, I mean, they showed that was the Brother 18 character.
No, like another one.
Oh, another one. Okay, I think it would have been better if he has to fight his orphaned brother again at the end, like a rematch almost.
Sure, but then the story wouldn't have played out the way that does. But I guess like I don't want to talk about that in any more detail unless we like go into spoilers. But I don't know. Is there anything else you want to say before we go into it in greater detail?
No, I think we can go more into detail of the plots. Even though it's pretty straightforward, we can go into the specifics of it, and we're going to go heavy into the specifics of the action. So if you'd like to hear that, you should consider subscribing to us on Patreon, because if you do, you can listen to the whole discussion, which will probably be an additional hour.
No, don't say that, because every time you say that, you curse us into doing it.
No, I don't. We sometimes say, let's try to make it under an hour, and then it ends up being like 2 hours or something like that, because we just keep on going into it. But if you want to hear us talk more about it, consider subscribing, because you'll get the full episode in addition to our shorter episodes, which we call Quick Jabs. And if you subscribe, you can hear us talk about Warriors of the Rainbow, Sadiq Bale. Strange title, but a very interesting film about the Taiwanese Aboriginals fighting the colonializing Japanese.
That sounds like a way more interesting story than the one we're about to talk to today. But all right, with that said, let's talk about Fight Against Evil 2. That is Northeast Police Story 2.
Fight Against Evil, Part 2.
Yeah. Actually, the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, I just watch those two fights. Right? Yeah, I mean,
it's so easy to sit there. This is 90 minutes. I think it's okay. I know you don't like the later fights. I think there's great body slams in there. I like some of the environmental damage going on. I don't think it's that bad. But in terms of it being a fight, in terms of there being drawn out choreography, it is not what those later fights have.
Yeah. I like my environmental damage too, but I need them to be the result of good fight choreography, and in lieu of good fight choreography, and it's nothing but destruction. I'm like, it doesn't do anything for me. Granted, I appreciate all the things that our stunt people do. Like, it's extremely difficult job, and like you're getting hurt for the art, but I still want a good lead up to it. And so with that said, middle two fights, they're awesome. Like, they're just less, I mean, there's good stunt work in there too, but it really is highlighted by excellent fight choreography. And this movie is fucking like, where was this the whole year? I feel like it's fucking I feel like we haven't watched any movies like this.
I've been holding out on this movie because we've been on our review of Haya, almost only Haya material, and we've been struggling. Yes. So I wanted our last episode to end on a higher note because it's been a difficult year watching almost only Haya related films.
Yeah. So I'm glad we're ending on somewhat of a high note. Like, those fights are awesome. So I'd say you can check those out. I can echo you and say that you can probably just watch the movie.
It's only 90 minutes.
Yeah. But if you just want to skip to those fights, you can do that too. I think the movie's just kind of okay. It is easy to sit through. It has its lulls, but yeah, if you just want to go straight to the good fight scenes, like, just go watch them if you can. I don't know. I don't have much else to say about the movie. It's a simple one. It's a very simple movie. Kind of wish it was a little bit darker in terms of storytelling, maybe more dramatic. I felt like it didn't know what it wanted to be.
Yeah,
in my
there was many opportunities to have these characters have these internal struggles.
Yes, yeah,
possibly break bad, possibly not, and you know, you can create good drama from that. But unfortunately, everything just resolves itself really easily, except for Motie's love life, because in the end, he's still going on blind dates, being set up by his coworkers, and he's still, I'm sure he's still going on these dates and refusing to pay for dinner.
That's what we call a scab. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Like, I'm sure you feel the same way, right?
Yeah. This is I think a great way to end 2023. China makes decent action movies. There's lots of good people making good action movies out there. It's harder to find because they go straight to Aichi, and then because of that, you just gotta filter throughout all this stuff. So sometimes you just gotta wait through. You gotta wait for somebody else to kind of recommend it because there's so much on Aichi. So
and I think that's where my bias and my sour taste comes from. It's just I feel like I've been plagued by just horrible mainland China movies, and some of them are, granted, they're still awful.
Are you still having PTSD from our Halloween bargain bin episode?
Yeah. Oh my God. How many did we have to cover for that? And even like Motie himself is not free from that kind of curse. Like freaking Ip Man: The Awakening. That movie was terrible too. So there's lots of terrible movies. I don't say every movie from China is terrible, but you're right. Like, you have to sift through a lot of garbage to find the diamonds in the rough, and oh God! But I'm glad we found this one, and this was a good way to cap the year. Oh God. So yeah, is that? I mean, it's not the end of the year for us. We still have a couple more episodes for you guys for the rest of the year. Definitely want to recap how we feel about Hiya as a service, and we're going to talk about 2023 as a whole. So yeah, stick around for more. And we have a lot of great content we have in store for you guys in 2024. We're gonna give you all the details pretty soon, and I'm pretty excited for all that. So I don't know what else to say, Zero.
Hey, do you think in 2024 we should only cover Chinese films on iQIYI?
Do you want me to jump off that building like that character in this movie? Because I will do that.
It's okay. We'll transition by having fireworks go off at the same time your body thuds, so no one will notice.
God. People who didn't listen to the Patreon section are like, what the fuck are you talking about?